welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this is highly intelligent, by the way.
Highly intelligent.
Yeah.
I don't know if you picked the right guess because I am not highly intelligent. I'm very low intelligent, actually.
Well, the name came from it's called highly intelligent. Emphasis on the high part.
Oh.
You get it.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I am highly intelligent now that I
Yes.
realize that. Okay.
Yes.
Glad we're on the same page about that. Thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah. So, what do you do for those who don't know who you are?
Sure. Well, I'll try not to talk too much, but my name is Blake Grossman. I'm an artist, actor, authentic, as the Instagram says, but people will like to disagree about that. I'm not going to get into much of that. But yeah, I make music, emo, rap, kind of just whatever I'm feeling. I have a very haphazard mind, so I find myself in a lot of different avenues, but it's a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of entertainment, big fan of just using my emotion and kind of just seeing what comes of it.
Oh yeah,
You know.
definitely. So, you recently released some music and had a name change. Let's talk about who you were before the name change
Sure.
and what did you do?
So, for a while now, I think since 2018, I've went by Blake G, and that's with an 8. BL, the number 8, KEG. Reason I did that is because I live on 8th Street. I started making music when I was 8 years old, so we threw in there as a little innuendo because, Blake G, there was, some competition, just like differentiate. So I was riding with that for a while. Releasing music, doing my thing, because that wasn't my first name. But prior to that, I went by That Rapper Tesla, which is a totally different era. And before that, I went by The Pokey Tesla, which wasn't music. That was live streaming. I streamed Mario on Twitch.
I see.
So a lot of different eras. Not Taylor Swift. This was a much different, much weirder. But I released music under Blake G for a while. And it just got to a point where, artists will have like the conflicting, you always doubt yourself and you always just wonder, like, what's the next move am I going to make? And you tend to overthink things. And, to be quite honest, I've been in that stage for maybe a year or two at this point, because I was debating. I was like, the number and the name, I didn't know how I felt about it. Just kind of like, because it's like your whole life. It's like I'm putting my life onto the page and I'm putting it out to the world. I want it to be authentic to myself.
Yeah, when I was my stage name is Shablambo, and it used to have exclamation points on it.
Okay.
And for the longest time, I debated if I needed those exclamation points there.
Right.
And I ultimately decided to get rid of them.
Yeah, rid of it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know. The internet's an interesting place. You can get with it. Like, the numbers and characters is more of it now. But, people still get confused. You got to, consider it from all angles. So that's what I was kind of thinking with Blake G. And I've been in that debate for a while now. I mean, the past few years ago, I've played shows where I was going by Blake G, and then I'd play shows going by Blake Grossman, and just simultaneously kind of just using both of these names. But what changed it for me was I had the opportunity to act in a few music videos for a few notable metal bands, Lorna Shore and Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram. I was gonna ask how that was for you.
Yeah, I'll definitely dive into that. But that was ultimately the reason that I decided to change my name, was because, in the credits it says, actor Blake Grossman or stuff like that. It's my name, and growing up I always didn't like my name. I got bullied a lot growing up.
Yeah.
And, because go Grossman, whatever, like easy stuff. But, as I've gotten older, it's funny how things have fallen into place, considering these videos are so, like, gross in themselves and kind of, like, gory.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of been in, like, the rock emo type of thing with the rap. So I was like, you know what? This just feels right. This feels like a good move, which really kind of sparked that transition into Blake Grossman.
Yeah. So you released your new song. Do you wanna? I think was it 2?
Yeah. So
Two.
we have a couple coming. We just released one called "Give It Up." This has been in the works for quite a long time. My best friend Brady Patterson, who's also my drummer, he's been helping me mix and master all these songs, and we're really getting it to a point where it's sounding like next level, which is another reason for the name change. I feel like, I have stuff released when I was like 16. And
the brand's evolving.
Exactly.
To change it up a bit.
I always find that interesting, people who have their old work who are like specifically young, and then like they grow up. It's like people go through changes, and I think that's kind of interesting. Like I think of like Tyler, the Creator. as someone,
Yeah.
he came out of the gate and he was so young and doing like edgy stuff, and like I resonate with that because it's like you grow up and then maybe you don't feel these things or your views change. But all of that aside, this song has existed since 2020, like COVID time is when I first wrote it, and which is kind of a theme for a lot of these songs, existing for a long time and just never getting around to releasing them. They kind of just stick in your head for a while. But we finally are getting around to like getting these songs done and getting them mixed, getting them mastered. I'm super proud of it. Give It Up is kind of talking about giving up your vices, giving up bad habits, giving up whatever you feel like is controlling your life. And, I'm someone who deals with a lot of mental health and a lot of stuff in that route. So it feels appropriate that the song came out at this time. I wanted it to release years ago, but things kind of fall into place.
You personally weren't ready to give it up.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I was going to do a challenge for that, but I think giving it up is a constant battle almost. You can't summarize it in like a 30-day TikTok challenge, which was kind of what I wanted to do with it. But I just don't want to. The whole thing is authenticity and being genuine. It's something that we kind of study behind the scenes a lot. Is like there's a lot of artists who, when you release content, there's so many people stuck in the rat race of like posting the song clip and then like singing to the song. It's like it's become so difficult to break through the noise as an artist and as a musician.
Yeah.
And that's something really important to me, to make sure that when I'm presenting myself, that they're getting the true experience. They're not going to get a fabrication, or they're going to get something disingenuine. I'm very adamant about that.
Yeah. So moving forward, what kind of projects are you working on? Like you said you have more music in the works. Is that going to be released in the form of like EP or multiple singles?
Yeah, we could. That's definitely an option. We kind of
we got his drummer behind the camera over here, by the way.
Brady, the person who's mixing these songs, is sitting here grabbing some clips for us. I mean, we always bounce around the ideas. Like, it's funny, like in 2020 I released an album called Lost in Translation, and it's funny looking at my Google Doc when I would make the track list for this. It would start as like an EP, and then I would see like 2 days later it would change, and it was like, okay, now it's like 4 singles, like totally different songs, and then it's like 8 songs, and then so it's like you're trying to like make it the perfect project, but we're kind of just at that stage where we're just like, shut up and just get it done. Yeah. So that's kind of the stage I'm at right now. So Give It Up, along with a lot more songs. We're finally really getting into the brink of it, of like getting these done. It's going to be an album, and it's exciting because it's going to be the first album released under Blake Grossman. So it's kind of like being like the forefront. Like, okay, this is like we're stepping into the new era, new things. Because we have friends in the scene for a long time, but we've been grinding at this for a long time, and we're ready to kind of show what we can do in a way. We're not to be the underdog anymore. We're ready to kind of show the world what we can do. So it's really excited. I mean, I know musicians, they don't typically talk about, like, oh, I can't talk about it yet.
Yeah.
I can talk about it. The only reason I wouldn't say something is because I may change something, and then I'm just yapping. But as of right now, it's 10 tracks. And Give It Up is on there as well. The next single that's coming is called Did You Ever? Is another banger. A lot of these songs are going to be diving into like relationships and love and kind of struggles. But it's also just like everything's like, I mean, I'm not going to spoil everything. I'm not going to say all the tricks, but it's a lot of upbeat stuff, a lot of banging stuff that would go well at concerts. Performing's my favorite thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
So this will be a great album to kind of do that with.
Yeah. I'm a beatboxer, so I can definitely relate to the performing
Dude, I saw
thing.
that. I try to do it, but I can't.
It takes a lot of practice, but like once you get it down, it's so fun. I'm trying to go down to Virginia and battle this year.
Oh, like the competitions.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, they have those in Brooklyn. I wanna show up to it.
Dude, New York City is like the spot for beatboxing.
Yeah.
That's like out of anywhere in the country, that's like probably the hub for it.
Beatboxing and rap battles, I see too.
Oh yeah.
Which is something that I'm from Long Island, so it's kind of like a little bit of a different scene. Not as much live shows. Like New York City is extremely saturated.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, Williamsburg, wherever you go, like that's like where you want to be. But growing up on Long Island, it's like 45 minutes to, it could be over an hour out from the city, but you're still like on New York. So it's interesting. Not as many shows go on there, but as well as with Brady, we do shows with a collective called Strictly Night Owl. We organize local music shows, and that was really fun because we'll do local shows where we'll have rappers start off the show, and then like a metal band will play, and then it'll
That's
just
fire.
then like an EDM DJ will go on, like, because the scene it was very primitive when we started doing it, and I just grew up with so much different types of music. I can't really pinpoint an influence.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed doing those shows, and we're still doing more. We organized this show that we're doing tonight in Binghamton at the Bundy Museum. Which is
Speaking of which, I discovered this guy on Instagram. I saw his ad. That's a great ad, by the way.
Thank you.
It caught my attention because you grabbed the local people, because when they hear Binghamton on their Instagram feed, it's gonna grab them.
Right.
And it definitely grabbed me, and so I figured I'd see what you were about. Sent you a DM.
I'm so glad that $20 is putting in work. I'll tell you that much. No. We have some local musicians on this gig tonight. Offbeat Degradations front the scene, Blair, and also a rapper, Mad Dog. It's his first time ever performing Binghamton local. So that's going to be really exciting.
How'd you get connected with the Bundy, being from Long Island?
So we played in Binghamton, I believe it was December, I want to say. Our friends in Outcast Click, they were doing a little bit of a tour, and they invited us onto some of these shows, and we were playing at a house venue called The Garden, local to here in Binghamton, and it was a lovely experience. We had a great time. There's a clip on Instagram where it's in the basement. I like hang on like a PVC pipe, and like it fucking like cracks open, and then
Damn.
I'm like assembling it back together as I'm rapping. It was all good. Like, it wasn't anything, but it was funny because water came out. Like, thank God I didn't drink it because I had the intrusive thought too. But that's why they call me Blake Grossman, because anyways, it was a great time, and we found the Bundy Museum just through being over here.
Yeah.
And it seemed like the spot. I mean, like, everybody and their mom was playing at the Bundy Museum.
Yeah.
So
I'm organizing a beatbox show there. So
no way.
Yeah.
Oh shit, dude! I may have to.
It's in the works. That's the first time I've spoken about it.
We can't hear anymore.
There's not much more in the works. I've talked to him and told him I want to do it.
Yeah.
And I got the boys that also beatbox. So you just gotta like do it.
I gotta work on my chops. I have to make another Binghamton trip here if I work on my beatboxing chops. Not gonna happen, but I'll put in the effort.
Yeah.
It seems like I haven't been yet. We're gonna be going in a few hours to load in. Seems like a wonderful place for shows. I'm super stoked. I'm really excited.
I went to a show last Friday. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a smaller venue, but the energy's there is just like, it's nice. Yeah.
That was the thing I noticed when we played Binghamton the first time was because we're still new to like getting out there. Like we've played around. We've played we recently did a college show in SUNY Purchase, which was a lot of fun. We've done a few college shows in like Massachusetts, but other than that, we're still like kind of getting our feet wet with that type of thing. What we noticed at that show is just like people were just showing up. It was just like, just locals were just like, coming down, and like it was a really cool feeling. So really just stoked to get involved in the communities, and like even like this, like you just hit me up out of the blue, like you want to do a podcast. Like I was like, shit, man, like that's like it's really cool that there's stuff like that in like a community, and like love and passion for all the arts and all that. I really appreciate it.
My goal with the podcast is to give artists like an avenue to tell their side of the story rather than like the story that someone wants them to tell. Like I could have just written out a long list of questions to ask you and like structured it very fine, but I like going with a natural conversation to give them like space to talk about what they want to talk about.
Yeah. That's good, and I struggle with words sometimes, so I'm glad this is going smooth sailing so far.
This is actually the first episode with these microphones.
Is it really?
Yeah, I bought them like 2 weeks ago, and this is my first time filming with them.
Dude,
so
these arms are like legit.
It's so nice. They were $100 a piece, but
okay, good investment.
It was so worth it.
Oh man, I used to have arms like this. Back when I was doing streaming, it was like $20 from Amazon. Those shits, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He's went through like 5 of them. they're not good. This is good equipment right here. This is good stuff.
It's even got these little like clip things in here to hold your wires in place.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so fire.
Shoutouts to Shure, man. I need to tap in.
Although on the microphones, it's kind of impossible to not give them a free shout out because their branding is all over everything.
Good. I mean, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
We're learning about it. We're getting into the merch game. I started screen printing recently.
I see. Okay.
Which is cool. Just like cool little side quest endeavors. You know, I'm in college still. I'm 22. So that was always like, especially when I was younger, because it's weird being an artist when I've been making YouTube videos since I was like 7 years old, and I was like sad at like 9 of why I wasn't getting more views. So it's like I've always had like this.
I've been there.
You know, like this like drive and like constant like I guess like energy struggle with it. So it's, you know, when you're young, like you want the world, and I've kind of had to come to terms like hone your craft, learn what you're trying to do, because I can just say, going to college, I go for broadcasting. The amount of stuff I've already learned and like been able to implement into like just in terms of branding has been so crazy, which is, I'm glad I'm in a good place right now. I used to hate school and dread school. I would, you know, they would send me to the freaking school therapist or the person they would have, because I would just be not wanting to go to school or whatever. I would always tell my mom I wanted to be homeschooled. But you know, that's all water under the bridge. Is that how the saying goes? Yeah. I've gone out of my angsty phase, and I've just kind of externalized it a bit more.
I can feel that school thing, but I'm about to go start school for animation. So I'm going to be paying entirely for it. It's not like going to a college. It's more like an online trade school where they teach you just animation. But a lot of people right out of that program have been able to get jobs. But the animation industry right now is like terrible. Like,
really,
experienced professionals that have been working for 20, 30 years haven't been able to be employed for like over a year.
Really?
Just because the US isn't doing anything, and it's easier to outsource all the animations to other countries because it's cheaper to get it done over there than it is to pay the experienced guys over here.
They always got to cut out the That's crazy, man.
AI is also taking over a lot of jobs.
Oh, dude, like totally,
voice acting's gonna be like gone in the next 5 years with all of the AI voice models that are being created.
The amount of TikToks I see of just like the AI generated like inspirational things, or literally just clips of like just somebody else, and they'll just be reposting like schedule. It's insane. They call it like the biggest side hustle right now because the money you can make from it. I can't do that. I would like to think I would like to use my voice if I was to make videos like that.
I agree.
But AI is freaking crazy, man. People are from cover art to mixing and mastering. I mean, they're making anything you can think of. Like, it's insane.
Yeah. That also connected to the part about honing your craft. Because I know that if I am not good, then there's no chance that I'll get a job at all. Because I'm competing against the guys that have been doing this for 20 years, and they're also trying to get the same job. So I have to be good if I want to.
But you have the young edge. You have the new mind.
So they can pay me less also.
Yeah, we can all hope for that, right? That's why I can get the job of below minimum wage. It's crazy, man. Like these Marvel movies and all this stuff where like they're paying them like pennies to the dollar, like overworking them weeks. Like much love to those crews, man. Like they're really putting in the work. Like it's rough because you know these movies like they're expecting more and more, and with AI I can't even imagine what they're gonna want these production companies to do.
I heard that it's gonna cut out like 90% of all like visual effects and animation jobs just because it's speeding up the workflow and getting rid of most of the people in there.
It's interesting, man. My stepdad, he did printing. He had a big printing company, and right around the 2000s, the paradigm happened where like going fully internet stuff like that. So like in the blink of an eye, like his whole company went from like he was huge, like doing proxies and all these types of things, and it just went away so quick. And it's like as a business owner and like as a I guess like an influencer, because it's such like a haphazard job. You don't know how long your career is going to be. You really got to be like on top of those trends, like notice when the curve is happening. Like as soon as AI happened, I was like, I need to look into this, like ChatGPT, all this stuff. I know everybody knows about that, but you get what I'm saying, where it's like people will neglect it. They'll be like, oh, this isn't going to
Yeah.
change anything. This isn't going to be anything. And then they're out the job.
In the 80s when CGI first came about, it looked terrible.
Yeah.
People said that's never going anywhere. And now look at it, it's
Right.
like the biggest industry in the world, so one of them.
Crazy.
I won't say the biggest.
But I mean, in comparison to where it was to how it turns out, shit's crazy, man. And, I try to think of myself as like, use my thoughts to my advantage, because I'm very creative, and I like to, I love the business part too. I love behind the scenes, whether it be us planning shows or just thinking of like plans or how we're going to get out there. Not everything I can do at this very moment. We still need to build ourselves and get to that point. But I think it takes that type of personality when you're in an industry like this, because I think a lot of people, they make music and, like that's it. They want it to be that's it. It's like you got to think about your brand, and you got to think about all these different things. And I think that was the biggest hiccup for me, even when I started out, was I was just dropping music and post a picture, and then it's like what next, like you got to really think who you are, like what are you trying to do, what do you want to sound like. I went through so many different sounds, and I still do that. I still make a million different genres, and I love experimenting, but understanding that you're appealing to a market, and you need to market yourself. You're the product, you're the brand. So I think understanding that has helped me a lot move forward.
Definitely. So, where do you ultimately want to go with content creation and production? Because you mentioned you're going to school for broadcasting.
Yeah.
So what is that gonna lead you into potentially?
It's it's a good question, because you always have the debate about the dream. You want to be the ultimate dream, but then they also you have the backup plan. This is always like the age old question for musicians, artists, anybody in that type of.
This is my ultimate dream, and the animation's my backup plan. But that's even still like.
Nah, man. We're out here doing it.
Yeah.
We're doing what we can.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that if you work at it, you can achieve it. Because look, no shade to anybody that's maybe doesn't have it, but people like that, people try things out. You dabble, but if you really want it. Because that's the difference, right? Is there's people, you could just try it out and you can have fun. That's great. Like I would much rather that than people who are doing it just to chase a bag, or to maybe they're enamored by the following that they may get. First and foremost, do it because you love the art.
Yeah.
But if you're like really persistent on it, and you really want to do it, I'm a firm believer that you will achieve success. Like if you keep working at it, there's no way that like things are just going to be stagnant. Like you're not going to see any growth. Like if you just go every day, even if it's like 30 minutes, an hour of whatever you're trying to pursue, at some point something's got to give, and you're going to get those opportunities, and opportunities are going to come to you. It's not going to be stagnant forever. The only reason it stays stagnant forever is when you don't do things. Is when you just sit there and you're like, man, like I really wish I could drop this song right now, but I gotta mix it, and then I gotta release it, and you know what? I'm just not gonna do it. It's like, that's when nothing happens.
I can definitely feel that whenever I record a new podcast episode, or I have like 2 or 3 backlogged that I have yet to edit, I've just like all this work, and then I spend like 2 or 3 hours editing the podcast, making sure it's like pristine, and then it gets to the social media side of things, and then I have to cut out reels. I'm just like it's burned out at that point. So
I feel that.
It's intense.
I've dealt with burnout a lot. Back in COVID, there's no one was doing anything. TikTok was kind of rising. I started doing a lot of TikToks, and I just remember like every single day, that's all I thought about was like, make this TikTok. And, I did decent. I got up to like 25,000 followers. So, nothing crazy, but it was still, good for what it was.
Yeah.
But man, like after a while, it's like when you tunnel vision it, I feel like that can also be a detriment.
Yeah.
Because you said, highly intelligent. I think weed is a good helper of this perspective.
Definitely.
Because you can get that tunnel vision, but you also need the perspective of like, it's like, look, man, like don't stress yourself about this. Like just because you didn't get your TikTok out today doesn't mean it's going to fail your entire career of this podcast. Because I still think like that, where it's like I'll just like, for some reason, I'll be like, I need to get this video out today. And then I don't get it out today, even though I just thought about it today. And then I'll be like, man, I'm such a failure.
Ultimately, your mental health should be prioritized over any creative endeavor that you're pursuing, because you ultimately aren't going to be your best if you aren't at your best mentally. Although for songwriting and stuff like that, that could be said the opposite.
Yeah, fans like, I like you at your worst, bro. Like, I like you more when you were sad. You know, stop being happy. You know, artists have those arcs, and I imagine I'll have moments like that where, you know, we have like the more sad album, more happy album. But mental health is first. I mean, I have never been less productive than when I was at my lowest mentally. Having a clear mind and being able to see the flowers, so to speak. It's like you can still extract those emotions that you're feeling of sadness and stress and all those things, and still have clarity of the world around you. You know, I'm a very introverted person, and I would kind of like deal with these internal struggles, just kind of like sitting in my room and writing this song. I'd be like, fuck, man, like I don't know what to do. And like having that clarity, it makes the workflow so much like quicker. It's like, it's almost like it's so interesting. And that's something I'm trying to get into more. I've seen therapists in the past, but I'm trying to get into that more. Because even when you're good, you know, you want to check up on yourself. You know, you don't want to, because you may think you're good, but that may be a spiral downward. I mean, I'm on Long Island, and I just see so many people that live in the city. This is kind of a tangent, but I see people in the city, in the Brooklyn, and they, you know, maybe they came from a small town from the South or from the West, and they'll move to the big city of New York, and, you know, they have like that main character syndrome type of thing. But like, that's all fine and dandy. Like, go chase your dreams and stuff like that. But you can't go out to the bar Monday to Friday doing these things. It's like, I'm living my best life. You have no money. You know, you're struggling to pay rent. You're not saving any wealth for your future. You gotta consider these factors. You gotta be realistic. And that kind of wraps around to what we were saying about college and everything. I understand that this stuff is gonna take time. I still have a few years left in college, and I may even be going for my master's, which could be even longer. So I'm not expecting myself to be going at these extreme lengths, you know, like touring the world type of thing. It's like I have time. You know, I can hone my craft, learn these things. I don't need to stress myself, because you got to be realistic. These things aren't going to happen overnight, you know?
Yeah. And even if it does happen overnight, I feel like in most of those cases, you fade out into the background just as fast as you got popular.
Right.
Just because it's not like a genuine following. People like you for that one thing you did. And if you don't keep doing that one thing, they don't care.
Yeah. It's easy to get pigeonholed. I've definitely had that experience when I was doing TikTok. I remember my first viral TikTok was like, I was like, this is the top 5 heaviest songs. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. And then it's like, hey there, Delilah. And then like everybody loved it. And then, you know, you start emulating that. And then it's like, wait, am I just the baiting heavy song guy, or am I a musician? So, you know, it's fun to do stuff and have fun like that. But I totally get what you're saying. It's like, you know.
Yeah. Well, sir, what do you do in your personal life? What aside from music or school?
That's a good question. I actually wasn't expecting that. In my personal life, what the fuck do I hang out with him for once?
Yeah.
But in terms of personal stuff, I like basketball. I remember, you know, growing up with basketball a lot. That was a lot of stuff I did. Big gamer, not as much as I'd like to be nowadays.
What do you play?
I was a big speed runner.
Okay.
So
okay.
like
I respect that.
Yeah. So that, and also like Kaizo Mario levels, like super hard man-made levels. I was super into that. And you can see my rage comps probably somewhere on my profile somewhere. That was fun too. But I'm a fan of shooters, multiplayer. Like I play Overwatch. The game is dying right now, and I think it's hilarious. But I still enjoy it. I think I partially enjoy my own suffering at points. And I think that's just generally speaking in terms of stress. I feel like I impeded on myself. But you know, growing up, I would play Crash Bandicoot. I have a couple. I don't know if that'll read on camera, but that's Aku Aku from Crash Bandicoot. I have like Spyro the Dragon and stuff like that. because most of my friends growing up had like Xboxes. My mom, she gave me like, she would give me like retro consoles. Like, so I had like the PS1, and I know for people watching that isn't like retro, but being able to like grow up with consoles like that eventually made me into like kind of like a collector. I started collecting all the consoles. Like I started getting N64, GameCube, and so I got to expand and stuff like that.
You ever played any like trading card games?
Oh, dude, Yu-Gi-Oh! I was a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fanatic back in the day.
I used to be really big into Yu-Gi-Oh. So my story with Yu-Gi-Oh is back in the day, I'd buy a couple packs, and then I guess what I had is my deck because I didn't really have anything.
Right.
And then I got a job and moved out here, and then I found a card shop and started playing again. And then I realized that Yu-Gi-Oh is super fast-paced and too complicated for me nowadays. So I sold all my Yu-Gi-Oh cards and bought Magic.
Oh.
And now I play a lot of Magic.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you like that?
It's so good.
Really?
It's way more balanced than Yu-Gi-Oh, and you have a lot more time to react to things that your opponents do.
That's the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh. Like when I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like it was so simple. Like 4-star 2000 attack. Like okay, summon, trap, spell, and now it's like
everything triggers
pendulums and like I don't even understand half the shit. I quit when they introduced XYZs. I think it was the black cards.
Yeah, I still don't know how to use those cards. I think I had a synchro deck.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
That was the easiest new thing for me to understand. So I think that's what I went with.
Synchros was fire. They should have kept it as synchros. I mean, the game looks cool. Like I'll occasionally look at YouTube videos and I'm like, damn man, this looks fun, but fuck, I don't want to play it because it's just expensive too. Like to get good cards, the meta, it's like.
Yep.
It's tough.
Magic's even worse about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's crazy. With Yu-Gi-Oh, at least, you can tell what cards are valuable because they're nice and shiny.
Right.
And usually pretty powerful. But in Magic, you just never know because some of them could be like 10 years old and look the same. And
still viable, really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Because there's certain formats in Magic that you can play any card and there's no ban list in that format.
Oh.
So, but I like to play Commander, which is you get 100 cards, and you can only have one copy of each card in the deck.
That's
aside
cool.
from basic land cards and stuff.
But yeah. I know Yu-Gi-Oh had I have a funny memory because Yu-Gi-Oh you're only supposed to have like 3 of the same card, but they also have bands you can have or 2 or 1. So I remember I was in a tournament. I would go to like card shops to get my ass beaten every single day.
I feel that
it was fucked up. Like I would go to like this thrift store by me. I would also go to like Flushing, and I would verse people who were like fucking like so into it. I would just be bringing my ragtag deck or whatever. But I was in a tournament, and I remember I busted out a card, and I didn't know it was banned. And this kid like got this shit is banned. Hey, but someone needs to come over here. And like I was with my dad, and your dad's like I did something wrong. Like I feel like I committed a crime. I think that may have sparked the end of my Yu-Gi-Oh thinking about it.
Yeah.
Man, I liked Pokemon too. That was a little more innocent. I never got into playing the Pokemon card game, but I opened the packs.
I collected the cards. It was cool to have them. Store them in a binder and show people all your cool cards.
Oh, dude, I loved my binders.
Yeah. Well, have you ever played Baldur's Gate?
I haven't heard of that. No, I don't think so.
It's like an MMO RPG kind of game. You ever heard of Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes.
So it's kind of like that, but a video game. So you don't have to do any of the thinking. You can just do it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends who do that, like the Dungeons and Dragons weekly meets. It seems fun.
I've never personally played it. I kind of want to, just to like experience the game of Dungeons and Dragons.
I've heard it's like reading like a thesaurus or something in terms of the rule sets. They bust out like 45 sided dice, and like I'm like, dude, Yu-Gi-Oh is complex for me. I don't need to.
Yeah.
But it seems fun. I'm a huge like nerd type of stuff like that. I like stuff like that. I need to give myself more time to kind of like do those things. I don't give myself enough free time to kind of just like not worry about things and kind of just like
Do you have you ever read Lord of the Rings?
Seen a few of the movies. I read Harry Potter. I went through Harry Potter. That was mine.
I see. I read a little bit of Harry Potter. I think I read the first 3 books and then didn't finish the series.
They just like kept getting bigger. Like every book was just
Yeah. But I started reading The Lord of the Rings recently because I read The Hobbit, and The Hobbit's a nice kid's tale. It's an easy read. And then I got to The Lord of the Rings, and this is like an adult book that I have to read paragraphs multiple over again. And I don't read often. I haven't read a book since middle school willingly.
Yeah, I feel that. School fucked up my passion because I remember I was young and I was reading these Harry Potter. I was like so into it, and the second you have to like start like analyzing and like I was like, dude, like this is not like the point of books. I felt like was like you kind of can visualize, and it's like I don't want to have to like write it down and like factualize like things. It's like it's in my head. It's
figure out the author's intention.
Yeah.
See what they wanted.
Awful. Good classes. I always enjoyed literary and all this work stuff, but shout outs to Cliff Notes really coming in clutch in those middle school, high school years.
Yep. If only we had ChatGPT.
Oh my God, dude!
Kids
right?
got it easy nowadays.
That's the fucked part of it. Like our school just got a swimming pool installed, and I haven't experienced that. But talking about ChatGPT not being around, shit, man.
Yeah.
I wish. Well, these kids got it too easy. We gotta roughen them up somehow. ChatGPT ruined our generation. That's
Definitely. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about? Did I miss anything? Or you act, right?
I do from time to time. I could touch on that a little bit. 'Cause I do get asked that. It was funny. Right after I appeared on the Cannibal Corpse and Lorna Shore video, a little bit of like people's like perception of you changes, and this is something that I'm starting to experience more now. So I feel like I can kind of like it's appropriate to speak about it because I'm kind of like I don't know. It feels like it's like first person talking about. I don't know how to explain it, but I saw a TikTok somewhere where they were like people's like opinion about you or like their energy towards you will change. It could just change based on like something you post because of like just how they interpret you. So when I acted in these videos, it was like they kind of saw me from this different lens, and not to say like it was all gas or something. Some people were like, trying to understand how I got this. Some people were like, because they want to do it themselves, which is cool. Some people were just like they weren't sure how to feel. They were like, how the fuck did he get this gig or whatever? But to that I say, I've been in kind of like this acting circuit since I was very young. I remember I was like kind of around 8 years old actually. My mom brought me into the city to like do these modeling agencies because I would go to like the talent shows, Michael Jackson. I would do like pelvic thrusts and stuff like that. I've always been huge in performing. I've always loved that. So she would try and get me involved. I was in dance when I was younger. So this has always been something that I've kind of like subconsciously been interested in and trying to get involved in. But acting these things really gave me perspective that this industry is so not necessarily tightly knit, but it's not fantasy. Like everybody's a real person.
Yeah.
Because being on set and like talking to Austin, the drummer of Lorna Shore, I'm just sitting there talking to him, and it's like, bro, like if you told me that like a year ago, like that would seem like me looking at YouTube and like I couldn't comprehend it. And then it's like I'm just there, and it's like, oh, these are just people.
When I started this podcast, it was just me and the boys at first, and then I got really big into beatboxing. So I met some of these really famous beatboxers, and then I actually got to sit down and have them on my show, and we just had a real conversation.
That's
dope. They're real people. It just like changed my whole perspective about like famous people. And I'm glad I met like a semi-famous person before I met like Snoop Dogg or something,
right.
So I'm not like fangirling the whole time.
Right.
Yeah,
I've had moments like that. I remember, going to meet and greets. Like you fangirl. I've gotten out of that phase, thankfully. I mean, maybe there's a few people I would still fangirl over, but I mean,
nothing wrong with fangirling, but it doesn't exactly land you gigs.
Right, that's the thing. See, that's the secret they don't want to tell you about in acting or music is just be cool.
Yeah,
you just gotta be cool. Like when you fangirl, like they always say, like LA, like the topic of moving to LA. They're like, oh, like people can't handle themselves in LA. The reason people can't handle themselves in LA is the secret is just being able to network, being able to just communicate with people. Trade and barter services or whatever you're doing. That's really all there is to it. And I think people make it way more complicated than it is, because I can just say from firsthand experience, just doing it, I'm just a kid writing songs, and it's like just through trials and tribulations, I was able to land these things, and it's like I'm seeing more opportunities, and it's like, wow, man, like just keep at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like don't. I think being introverted can also be a setback, because that was a setback for me. Being afraid to talk to people, going to a gig, and there's a lot of people there, maybe not even to see you or just people of fellow bands. People won't talk to these people. It's like, talk to these people. These are real people that you can connect with. It doesn't matter how big they are. There's value in anything if you look at it in the right lens.
Definitely. So do you want to talk about how you landed that gig?
Yeah, sure.
You hinted at it a lot.
So there's a few. I can give a few tips for people who are trying to get into it at all. This is gonna sound fucking wild, but hashtag like New York model, hashtag alternative model. People see this shit. I'm not even joking. There's also this website called Backstage that you can use. There's a couple different things that I've used to land gigs, because those two bands were not the only gigs I've landed. I've been in Skid Row videos and like smaller band videos, and maybe like small acting parts where I have like a small speaking role. Online, there's websites, like I said. Definitely check out, if you're an aspiring actor, check out backstage.com. You can definitely land gigs like that. But other than that, if you're just looking to connect maybe with a specific band or connect with a specific person, there's rabbit holes you can go into. Every artist at that big stature, they're going to have a manager. They're going to have agents. They're going to have people they work with. These following lists are public. You can literally go to any of these people and scroll through, and I guarantee you're going to find who their touring manager is, who does their recent artwork. They'll literally tag it in their posts. So finding these people, even if you just leave a follow on their page and just, hey, love your work, I noticed you're in New York. I'm also based in New York. Things like that, these people remember, and you wouldn't think they would, but I've gotten reached out to just because I networked with them. I said hi to them. I connected with them 2-3 years ago, and then 3 years ago we're getting to do something project-wise. So networking, I think, is the biggest thing you can do, because you never know. At the end of these big celebrities, what it comes down to is their team, who's backing their work, who's kind of pushing their stuff, and who do you know?
Yeah,
that's what they say. Who do you know?
Yeah.
So I would say that's the biggest thing. Everyone can be valued. Doesn't matter if you have 0 followers, 10 followers. Find that crew, find that collective. Mesh together.
Yep.
You'll find things.
Yeah.
That's what I can say. But to kind of wrap up on those two acting things, I'm extremely blessed. It's still kind of surreal to me looking back at those videos, especially being a huge metalhead myself, and growing up with Cannibal Corpse and Lorna Shore. Fucking surreal. It was really good. I hope to do more of it. I don't have anything planned. I don't know. That's kind of the magic of the whole the industry, is these things can happen in an instant. So
at one moment you're flooded with offers, and then for months you don't have anything.
Exactly. You got to trust the process, and that's where people beat themselves up the most, is they want to be an overnight success, but takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah,
as they say. So I'm trusting the process.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, is there anything you want to plug before
Sure.
we close?
Well, first off, shout outs to Highly Intelligent. This was a absolutely awesome time. Thank you for having me. But for those who are watching who may not know, in the Bing area or elsewhere, really anywhere, my name is Blake Grossman. You can find me on Instagram, Blake Grossman Official. I may be changing that, though. I want to kind of change it to Blake Grossman 8. Keep the 8 in there. I don't know. We're thinking about it, because official sounds too official.
Yeah.
And I'm debating it on the fucking podcast.
But real.
You'll find me somewhere, I guarantee you. Either that, or you can find me at Blake G, BL, the number 8, KEG. We got a lot of shit planned. I'm trying to get back on the streaming soon, so we'll see that. Hopefully we'll be back upstate this summer. We're doing a couple shows. We're going to be going down to Atlanta and New Jersey. We're starting to kind of get out there more. Big fan of the upstate stuff, so we're definitely going to keep doing that. And yeah, man, be look on the music. We have a new song coming out April 8th. I didn't even realize this was happening. I thought I scheduled it for May 8th, but it's coming out April 8th, which is in like
that's the
3
eclipse.
days. Is it really?
That's the day of the eclipse.
Oh shit. That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. Well, shout outs to the Eclipse. I wish I had a better fitting song for that. You're gonna get a breakup song on the is it a lunar or solar eclipse?
It's a solar eclipse.
Solar eclipse, right?
Yeah.
Like 20 years, 10 years.
I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I just know it's gonna be like the moon's covering the sun. So
I want to film something. We were talking about that. When that happens, we got to film something. New songs coming soon. Look out for the bigger work. Acting, everything. I mean, you'll see it on the socials. I'm kind of just haphazard.
Yeah.
One day I'll be rapping. The next day I'm kayaking.
Also, all the links are down there. Just scroll down there. I don't know why you're still here.
Oh.
Just like go click those links and check them out. Go look at his stuff. Stop looking at mine.
Oh, look at his stuff too.
Oh yeah, but you've been here for 45 minutes. It's time to go look at his stuff.
This is a great time, man. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thanks for coming on the show. Thank you guys for watching. And thank you for adjusting the camera. Yeah.
Camera's looking nice.
Yeah. Well, this has been Highly Intelligent with Blake Grossman. 8 question mark.
We'll say cliffhanger. I don't know.
Yeah. Good luck at your show tonight.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm gonna break a leg, metaphorically and literally. I don't end up a show without an injury, whether it be on my knee or my elbow or I don't know where else. My foot is kind of fucked up right now, but it's okay because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So when you're watching this, I may be a crippled corpse by then, but we're pushing on.
Definitely, yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming out to this public library. Shout out to the Broome County Public Library.
Yeah, for real, coming in clutch.
For letting us use the room. This is fire.
This is a vibe. We'll have to do it again sometime. Grab some books. Grab Lord of the Rings, Hobbit. We can do a book read.
Solid, yeah.
Audio book, not AI.
Yeah.
Not AI. We got to read it ourselves.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, and you guys can check out more of his stuff down there. Yeah.
Peace out.